Everyone, welcome to Grief Club. First rule of Grief Club is you take care of yourself first and foremost. Second rule of Grief Club is you take care of yourself first and foremost. Third rule of Grief Club is if you or someone you know has not lost a loved one, feel free to consider this video over. Fourth rule, acknowledge bereavement as your life's greatest fight. Fifth rule, take it day by day, fellas, ladies, and everyone else in between. Sixth rule, overlaps with Tyler Durden's rule, no shirt, no shoes. Get comfortable at home, it's cool. Seventh rule, grief will go on as long as it has to. I'll get back to that in a second. And the eighth and final rule, if you're watching this video, you're already in the fight. Wish we could have met under better circumstances. What I'm going to say next is going to sound a little heavy, but bear with me. So I'm presenting today that grief will feel brand new for the first 5 years. Does that mean that you are going to stay stuck in current emotions? No, of course not. Just FYI, even if you made it a point to never smile again after your loved one passes, that's actually an unsustainable state to stay in permanently. Eventually life just gets in, it seeps into your life and you're forced to check that, or not forced, but eventually life shows you that you can't stay in one permanent state. The reason I mention this is because grief is intense. It is a reaction to a loved one who is important and is no longer here. Complicated grief presented itself with the disease. You all know which one. I would put anybody who lost a loved one for the virus in complicated grief because, or not anyone, but if you're particularly having a hard time resuming your life with normal activity because you're angry, you're crying, you're sorrowful, you're blaming family member who may or may not have directly influenced the trajectory of the health for your loved one, that is something that complicates my grief. But what I wanted to say is if anybody's out there who is currently going through it right now and it's been like a year, for example, and you're still asking yourself, why am I still struggling? It's because for the first 5 years, grief feels brand new. The shock, the asking yourself, is this real life? Asking yourself, where is my loved one? Trying to reach them if they had a phone, all that will last for the first 5 years. And eventually it becomes more manageable and bearable, especially if the person currently suffering does grief work and is very proactive about that. So I just wanted to say, for anybody else that's having a hard time at this time or any time, it's completely normal. It's perfectly healthy and it's perfectly normal, as I've heard that before. But I also wanted to leave it open for any questions. I know that grief will go on as long as it has to. Sounds incredibly harsh, but the truth of the matter is I know someone who lost a son over a decade ago, and that is something that'll stay. You know, like eventually you just kind of learn that the scars are gonna be in your heart. You don't want to forget these people in a certain context, whether you be related to them being sister, father, mother, daughter, anything. It's going to feel, you're gonna feel it if your loved one isn't here, point being. So if you're asking yourself these questions of like, oh my God, it's been so long and why am I still crying like this? It's because you're going to. It's perfectly within your right at this time to do that. So I just wanted to say that. And also, FYI, I hate that it took so long to create the second video, this follow-up, but working full-time in the med field presents its own kind of kicker to your plans. So there will be a video with my own personal grief story soon, really soon. But yeah, please enjoy this. Thank you. Pass it along if it'll help anybody, and leave questions in the comments if I can answer. Of course, I'm happy to. Thanks.